Welcome, and thank you for joining today. This seminar is for educational purposes only. Nothing presented today should be considered tax, legal, investment, or insurance advice. Any examples used are hypothetical and for illustration only. Please consult qualified professionals before making financial decisions. Also, you may notice that this seminar uses an AI-generated voice. I chose this format to help maintain consistent pacing, clearer communication, and efficient use of time. Thank you for your understanding. I'm a retired computer engineer. After retirement, I realized I had not planned enough long ago. That started my journey into financial education, even though it may seem very late in life. My goal today is simple: share lessons I wish I had learned earlier. The Simple Path to Wealth is one of the more recent books I've read, and it explains concepts in a very simple and practical way. Some of the other books I've read include Tax-Free Retirement, The Retirement Miracle, Busting the Retirement Lies, 10 Costly Medicare Mistakes, The Richest Man in Babylon, IULASAP, Becoming Your Own Banker, Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance. I often wish I had read these books earlier in my life, but one important lesson I've learned is that it's never too late to learn. Retirement planning isn't just about age, it's about understanding time and consistency. Even small steps taken early can make a big difference over the long run. Let us look at this snippet involving the comedian Hasan Minhaj and J.L. Collins, the author.
You want me to be happy with a measly 12% on average return when I need to come up now. I need to come up now. Look at these returns. If I had 10 years ago, I go all in on the real stuff that makes the world turn. All I do is I hold FANG plus NVIDIA, Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, and NVIDIA. I would have gone up 713%, 873%, 633%, 1,268%. JL, had I put my $3,000 into NVIDIA, I would have gone up 26,209% in 10 years. So your 12%. JL?
That's amazing. And if you had wings, you could fly. So what crystal ball did you have 10 years ago that told you that?
I don't
have one? Well, yeah, obviously, if you knew that was going to happen, if I knew that Bitcoin was going to go from a penny a coin to $100,000, I would have sold everything and gone into Bitcoin. The thing is, you don't know that's going to happen. And there's a lot of stocks that looked every bit as promising as those that you put up 10 years ago that flamed out and went to nothing. You would have wound up broke. You don't know which horse is going to win. And 12% a year compounded over time, 8% a year. Let's be much more conservative. Compounded over time is an extraordinarily powerful thing.
There's a moment where I sometimes laugh at myself that I felt a bit like Hasan Minhaj, looking back and thinking, I wish I had known this earlier of what J.L. said. In The Simple Path to Wealth, J.L. Collins talks about how compounding helps money grow over time. That idea really stood out to me, and it motivated me to finally take a closer look at how compounding works, not as a guarantee, but as an educational concept. My goal in sharing this is simply to encourage learning. Financial education can help us make better informed decisions, no matter what stage of life we're in. Let's look at why many people start financial planning later than they intended. One thing I've observed, especially later in life, is that most people don't delay planning because they are careless. More often, life simply gets busy. Building a career, supporting a family, believing there is still plenty of time. Feeling financial concepts can be confusing, and waiting for the right time to begin. In my experience, one of life's important lessons is that time often matters more than perfection. That is why understanding concepts like compounding early in life can be valuable, while also staying aware of potential risks and pitfalls along the way. Time may be one of our most valuable assets, but only if we begin early. Let me give you a quick overview of today's presentation. My goal today is only to help you understand concepts so you can make informed decisions later. Finance is a large, complex knowledge that can open up as and when needed. So I am giving you few pieces that I found helpful to me, such as 1. 4 stages of life. 2. The retirement risks most people ignore. 3. Small steps but big impact. 4. Compounding. 5. Why starting early matters. 6. What and how to diversify. 7. Cost of waiting. 8. 3 buckets of retirement money. 9. Different insurances for life and riders. 10. Personal story. 11. Applying compounding to health. 12. Questions to ask about financial plan. 13. And finally, about me. Let's look at what I call the 4 stages of financial life. In our 20s, many of us are in the learning stage, acquiring knowledge, starting careers, and developing basic saving habits. In our 30s and 40s, life often becomes the building stage. Look for jobs to earn, saving, building assets, and supporting family responsibilities. In our 50s and 60s, many people begin focusing more on protecting themselves, managing risks, protecting assets, and preparing for retirement income. And after 65, many enter the distribution stage, turning savings into income, preserving assets, and thinking about the legacy they may want to leave behind. Everyone's journey is different, but one common theme remains. The earlier we begin learning and planning, the more choices we may have later in life. Retirement planning involves 3 major risks: living longer, market volatility, and rising healthcare costs. Which one concerns you most? Now that we've seen why planning matters, the next question becomes, when and how do we begin? Let's first talk about how. We'll come back to when in just a moment. Let me ask a simple question. How many of you feel saving about $3.30 per day may be possible? That's about $100 per month, or about $1,200 per year. Now, the lesson here is not the exact numbers. The real lesson is this: what may happen when small actions are repeated consistently over time? Start small, stay consistent, and over time, small steps may create meaningful results. This is one simple example of starting with small, consistent savings. In the next slide, let's look at a hypothetical example of how time may affect long-term outcomes and when starting may matter. Compounding is one of the most powerful ideas in finance. It simply means growth on growth. Small, consistent actions, plus time, may create meaningful long-term results. Earlier, we talked about saving about $3.30 per day. Now let's see what may happen when we add time. So, for the question, when should we start? The answer may simply be, start now. Let's go to the Excel example and see the effect of time using a hypothetical illustration generated with ChatGPT. Hypothetical illustration only, not based on any specific product, account, or policy. Actual results vary. The takeaway isn't the numbers, it's the lesson. Starting earlier gives time a chance to work. Let's assume you have a child who is 1 year old and you are 30 years old. Now let's assume both you and your child receive the same savings contribution, $100 per month for 10 years only, using a hypothetical 8% annual rate of return. That means each account receives the same total contribution, $12,000. At age 40, your contribution period ends. At age 11, your child's contribution period also ends. Now let's fast forward. By the time you reach age 65, this mathematical illustration shows your account could grow to approximately $134,000. By the time your child reaches age 65, this same mathematical illustration shows the child's account could grow to approximately $1.35 million. Same monthly savings, same total contribution, same hypothetical rate. The major difference is time. Do you remember from earlier that $100 per month is about $3.30 per day? That simple example helps illustrate how starting earlier may have a significant long-term mathematical impact. And by the way, I used ChatGPT to help build the Excel illustration behind this example. Later in the seminar, I'll share the prompt I used so you can experiment and learn on your own. Here's a simple analogy. Imagine you planted a small seed back in 1990 and cared for it consistently over the years. Today, that small seed could have grown into a strong, mature tree. And if it happened to be an apple tree, it may have been producing fruit for many years. Now imagine planting that same seed today. It still begins as a small plant and still needs time, patience, and consistent care. But here's the good news: it's never too late to plant a seed. The lesson is not really about apples. The lesson is about time. Whether someone focuses on growth, protection, stability, or diversification in their financial strategy, time may be one of the most important ingredients. The earlier we begin, the more opportunity time may have to work. And just for fun, each apple may contain several seeds. So over time, one small seed may eventually lead to many apples and many more seeds. That's one simple way to think about the long-term impact of compounding and time. Here is another way to think about starting earlier, from a human behavioral perspective. When people begin earlier, time may do more of the work. There is often less pressure to contribute larger amounts later in life, and financial decisions may feel calmer and less stressful. When people begin later, contributions may need to be higher, and emotional pressure may increase. Understanding this early may help people make more informed, realistic, and calmer financial decisions, regardless of age. Diversification simply means not putting everything in one place. Different tools may serve different purposes: cash for liquidity, bonds for stability, stocks for growth, and for some people, life insurance for protection. The bottom line is simple: use the right tool for the right purpose. Let's explore why, for some individuals, life insurance may be considered as part of a broader, diversified financial strategy. Investments are generally designed with growth potential in mind. Life insurance is generally designed to help protect people, families, and long-term plans. It may help transfer certain financial risks, provide contractual guarantees subject to policy terms and ensure financial strength, reduce the need to liquidate other assets during market downturns, support family, estate, and legacy planning. A simple way to think about it is this: investments may help grow assets. Life insurance may help protect people and plans. In many situations, both may serve different planning purposes. This slide visually reinforces how time may affect long-term growth. Again, this is conceptual, hypothetical, and for educational purposes only. I'll let you take a moment to reflect on the message this slide is trying to convey. Let's recap. Compounding is one of the most powerful concepts in finance because it helps illustrate how growth may build on growth over time. From that idea comes another simple concept: the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 is an easy and quick mathematical tool used to estimate how long money may take to double at a hypothetical rate of return with compounding as the basis. That is growth on growth basis. For example, at a hypothetical 8% rate, 72 divided by 8 is approximately 9 years. Now imagine starting at your current age, and then imagine starting decades earlier. How many potential doubling periods might time allow? That simple comparison helps illustrate the mathematical value of starting early. And interestingly, the same math can also help illustrate how borrowing costs may grow when debt compounds over time. This slide illustrates another important concept: the cost of waiting. Again, this is a hypothetical mathematical illustration for educational purposes only. It is not based on any specific product, account, or policy. Actual results will vary. Notice that in each example, the monthly contribution stays the same. What changes is when the saving begins. Starting at age 25, starting at age 35, starting at age 45. Same habit, same monthly contribution, but very different long-term mathematical outcomes. The lesson is not the exact dollar amounts. The lesson is this: when time is reduced, compounding has fewer opportunities to work. That is one reason many educators emphasize learning early, even if the first steps are small.
Now let's look at our same Excel illustration to understand this cost of waiting in a different way. Cost of waiting. Hypothetical illustration only, not based on any specific product, account, or policy. Actual results vary. Let us consider an adult starting at age 30. Starting at age 30, the hypothetical savings example discussed earlier may grow to about $134,000 by age 65. Delaying by 1 year may result in about $124,000 by age 65. Delaying by 2 years may result in about $114,000 by age 65. Now let us consider a child starting at age 1. Starting at age 1, the same hypothetical example may grow to about $1.35 million by age 65. Delaying by 1 year may result in about $1.25 million by age 65. Delaying by 2 years may result in about $1.15 million by age 65. Key lesson: a small delay today may lead to a significantly different outcome over long periods when compounding is involved. The earlier money begins working, the longer it may have to compound. That is why many financial educators refer to this concept as the cost of waiting. The cost of waiting is often measured in lost time, not lost dollars. And lost time can never be recovered.
Many educators describe retirement planning using 3 buckets: safety, growth, protection. No single bucket does everything well. At this point, you may be thinking, I already have different types of insurance. What purpose does each one serve? That's a very common question. There are many types of insurance, and for many people, understanding what each type is designed to do can feel confusing. For example, auto insurance is generally designed to help address vehicle-related risks. Home insurance is generally designed to help protect property-related risks. Health insurance is generally designed to help with covered medical expenses. Each serves a different purpose. Another financial planning consideration some people think about is this. What happens financially if income changes, stops, or a family's long-term plans are affected? Depending on individual goals, circumstances, and policy design, certain permanent life insurance policies may be considered as one possible planning tool. Some permanent life insurance policies may provide death benefit protection, subject to policy terms, potential cash value accumulation over time, long-term planning features, depending on the policy. Cash value, guarantees, and policy performance are subject to policy costs, charges, terms, carrier claims paying ability, and policy design. At a high level, life insurance has two categories: term for temporary protection, permanent for long-term protection if maintained. Permanent policies may include whole life, universal life, or indexed universal life insurance. Each may offer different features, funding flexibility, guarantees, risks, costs, and policy designs. For example, some indexed universal life policies may link certain credited interest to the performance of a market index, but policy values are not directly invested in the market. Here is one important concept to take away from the previous slides about retirement planning. Many retirement savings strategies are designed to accumulate assets during working years, and then those assets may be used over time through withdrawals during retirement, depending on spending needs, market conditions, and investment performance. Permanent life insurance may serve a different planning purpose. It is generally designed for long-term and, in some cases, potentially lifetime protection, if properly funded and maintained, subject to policy terms, costs, and policy performance. Depending on the policy design, some permanent life insurance policies may also provide a death benefit to beneficiaries, subject to policy terms and carrier claims paying ability. The key point is simple. Different financial tools may serve different planning purposes. One may focus on income accumulation and withdrawals. Another may focus on protection, legacy, or family planning goals. Now let's briefly talk about riders in a life insurance policy. Riders are optional policy features that may be added to customize a policy, similar to choosing optional features when buying a car. I'll highlight some examples you may hear about when exploring policy design with a licensed professional. Rider availability, costs, benefits, underwriting requirements, and state approval vary by carrier, product design, and individual circumstances. For educational purposes, riders are often grouped into 4 broad categories. 1. Protection and living benefit riders. 2. Family and income protection riders. 3. Growth and flexibility riders. 4. End-of-life and miscellaneous riders. The purpose of this slide is simply awareness. Just as when buying a car, it may be helpful to understand what optional features may be available. Personal health story. I'd like to share something personal. Later in life, I experienced some health challenges. As I learned more about insurance and underwriting, I realized that health, age, and other factors may affect future coverage options. That taught me a simple lesson. Planning earlier may provide more planning options and greater flexibility. During my education, research, and professional training, I also learned that, depending on policy design, underwriting, carrier availability, and state approval, certain policies may offer features such as long-term care-related benefits, chronic or critical illness riders, living benefit features. That experience became one of the reasons I co-founded Big Belly Insurance Agency, to help educate people about life insurance as one possible component of a broader financial strategy. And speaking of education, earlier in this presentation, I showed an Excel illustration about compounding. Here is the prompt I used to generate that educational spreadsheet example. I work with multiple insurance and financial companies. For many people, comparing policies, features, and underwriting guidelines can feel overwhelming. That's one reason some individuals choose to work with an independent licensed professional to better understand their options. I am a licensed independent life insurance broker. I'm not employed by or exclusively tied to any one insurance carrier. This allows me to help clients review and compare available options across multiple carriers based on their goals, circumstances, and underwriting eligibility. For life insurance and planning solutions, I may work with carriers such as F&G, John Hancock Vitality, NFP, Mutual of Omaha, Foresters Financial, Ethos. For annuity and retirement planning solutions, I may work with carriers such as Athene, Silac, Lincoln Financial Group, Mutual of Omaha. These company names are shared for educational and informational purposes only. Mention of any company does not represent an endorsement, recommendation, or guarantee of suitability for any individual. I'm also open to discussing carriers not listed here. Product availability, underwriting, features, benefits, and state approval vary by carrier and individual circumstances. Walking analogy for a long and healthy life. Financial health and physical health may have something in common. Small, consistent habits, both physically and financially, may produce meaningful results over time. Just as regular walking may support physical well-being, consistent learning, saving, and planning may support long-term financial habits and planning. The lesson is simple. Small steps, repeated consistently, plus time, may create meaningful long-term outcomes. That's the power of compounding, not only in wealth creation, but also in maintaining health and well-being. From a long-term financial planning perspective, many people focus on three key areas. 1. Growth. Building financial resources over time. 2. Asset building. Growing, managing, and preserving what you build. 3. Protection. Helping protect family, future goals, and legacy. As one possible component of a broader financial strategy, life insurance may help support protection planning. Depending on policy design, some policies may also offer features such as potential cash value accumulation, certain living benefit features where available, legacy or beneficiary planning support. As we wrap up, here are 3 questions you may want to ask yourself about your financial plan. 1. Do I have appropriate financial protection for myself and the people I care about? 2. Is my money diversified across different financial tools and planning goals? 3. Am I using time effectively to support my long-term goals? Now, just a little about me. My name is Ravi Shivana, and I am a licensed life and health insurance professional in California, and, where applicable, other states as well. As I mentioned earlier, I am now retired. In my younger years, I was learning, growing, and building my career. In my 30s came marriage and family responsibilities. In my 40s and 50s, I spent many years building a stable career, including time working at Stanford University. And now in my 60s, retirement has given me the opportunity to do something I genuinely enjoy. Helping people learn earlier in life what I learned later in life about planning earlier in life. My goal is simple: to share lessons I wish someone had shared with me earlier. But over time, small decisions may shape long-term outcomes. Today, we explored such as time and compounding, the cost of waiting, diversification, balancing growth, safety, and protection, health and wellness. These ideas may sound simple, but often forgotten, but over time, small decisions may affect long-term outcomes. So let me ask you, how many of you wish someone had explained the power of time and compounding to you 10 or 20 years earlier? And if someone did, are you making use of that knowledge today? So I'll leave you with one final question. What's one financial lesson you wish you had learned earlier? Thank you for spending your time with me today. I'm happy to share educational information and answer general questions. In my own experience, life insurance has been one component of long-term financial planning. Today, we explored concepts such as retirement risks, compounding, the Rule of 72, a simple tool to estimate how long money may take to double, diversification, protection strategies, a variety of life insurance concepts. If you'd like to continue the conversation and explore how these ideas may relate to your goals and circumstances, I'd be happy to schedule a licensed consultation at www.medicare.com. meetwithravi.com. And remember, it's not just about money. It's about using time wisely. The earlier we begin learning, the more time these ideas may have to work. And finally, a brief reminder of the disclosure. This seminar is for educational purposes only. It is not tax, legal, investment, or insurance advice. Products, features, benefits, underwriting, and availability vary by carrier, policy design, state approval, and individual circumstances.